Pranam Acharya ji. In the assigned reading, I came across phrases like realizing God, seeking refuge in God, and worshipping God. As a seeker of truth, these phrases seem clearer than phrases like reciting the name of God or the true name, singing God's praise, or chanting God's glory. What does all this mean in practical terms? It's Anna from Hungary this time. Anna, in any form, just one thing has to stick. Just one thing. It could be realizing God, or seeking refuge in God, or worshipping God, or reciting the name of God, or singing God's praise, or chanting God's glory. It's all going to lead to one place only. You would then ask that if all this is going to lead to one place, then why are there so many different phrases? These phrases are different because the seeker's condition varies. The seeking mind has different conditions. The mind is subject to conditions, and conditions vary. Therefore, there are different ways to point at the destination. Let's look at them one by one. You would realize. We have said, as a seeker of truth, some phrases appear clearer than others. So let's begin from here. Who is the seeker of truth? Is the seeker of truth undifferentiated, absolute, clear, and infinite truth itself? No. Truth may motivate or catalyze or encourage the search for truth. But truth itself won't look for truth because there are no two truths. So you cannot have truth looking for truth. And truth is a great non-doer. So you cannot have the truth doing anything. So truth does not seek truth. All seeking happens by the virtue of truth. All seeking happens due to the blessings of the truth. But truth itself neither seeks nor finds. It does nothing. Truth is non-dual. How can it go around seeking its dualistic partner? So truth seeking truth is an absurd thing to say. Who then seeks truth? The ego. What is the role of the truth in this seeking? The seeking itself is caused by the blessings of the truth. Ego seeks truth, blessed by the truth. The truth does not seek truth. So, it is the ego that is seeking. And the ego, as you know, is no one thing. The ego is different things at different times, at different places, in different people, in different conditions. Fundamentally, the ego tendency might be one, but its identities are multifarious, several, very variable. So, as we said, the ego is one thing right now, and a second later, the ego is a totally different thing. The identity has changed. The name that the ego gives to itself has changed. It could be a matter of a second, or it could be a matter of a meter. Time changes, the identity changes. Place changes, the identity changes. And as we live, time and place both are variable. So ego keeps changing. Ego is the seeker of the truth, first thing we said. And the second thing we are saying is, the ego keeps changing its names. The ego is no one thing. Because the ego is the seeker and the ego keeps changing its names, its identity, its address, its very configuration. Therefore, to different states of the ego, different methods have been suggested. So the various phrases you have come across in the Nitnem are nothing but the various remedies advised to the various illnesses of the ego. Because the illnesses are different, so the remedies are also different. We said we would be looking at these one by one. So, realizing God. The Gurus have advised, son, realize God. Now, why has that been advised? Rather, to whom has that been advised? To which state of ego has that been advised? The ignorant state of the ego, because ego has another name which is ignorance. Because the ego does not realize the truth, so realizing the truth has been advised. So the Guru or the well-wisher would come and say, realize God. If you do not realize God, it's a problem. Or if you have taken a false idea of God as God, that is an even bigger problem. So you better realize the one and only true God, which is the invariable truth. So to which kind of mind would the Guru address these words? An ignorant mind. A mind that is carrying fancy notions about godliness. To such a fellow, the Gurus would say, you realize God first. Because you have an idea of God that is crude. That is just ego boosting. You are coming and saying so many things about truth that are all nonsensical. So you better realize God. The next phrase you have quoted is, seek refuge in God. Now, keep working along with me. Anna. To what kind of an ego would the Gurus advise this? Seek refuge in God. Paint the picture. Who would it be to be advised thus? A fellow has come over, and the Guru says, you seek refuge in God. Who is this person, this mind, this ego, this fellow likely to be? Visualize him. Who is it? The one who is seeking refuge in miscellaneous places. He admits that he is homeless. He admits that he needs shelter. He admits that he is an emigrant. So he is indeed seeking a home, a shelter, a base, an anchor somewhere. But he is seeking it in all the wrong places. Like most of us do. We are all haunted by a perpetual feeling of homelessness, are we not? Don't we all have that scary feeling sometimes of having nowhere to go, of belonging to no place, of being utterly uprooted? A fellow who is a refugee in his own house doesn't quite feel connected, doesn't quite feel integrated. We know that feeling, don't we? So that's the kind of person the gurus are addressing right now. They are saying, if you must seek refuge only at one place. Don't seek refuge in money. Don't seek refuge in your darling person's place. Don't seek refuge in convention. Don't seek refuge in knowledge. These are the common places we go to when we want to take refuge. No? You get beaten around in the world, and then suddenly home starts appearing so sweet. That is the day you call up your mother. No? Otherwise, all is hunky-dory. Do you see what you are doing? You are seeking refuge. The gurus are telling you, while it is a fact that you do need a shelter, it is equally unfortunate that the shelter that you are planning for yourself is useless, rather dangerous. You are right in admitting that you do need refuge. But the solution you are providing yourself won't work. You would just become a permanent refugee. How does that even sound? A permanent refugee. Wherever you go, you are just a refugee. And that's the condition of man in the world. He is an eternal refugee. And that is why you have heard stories where saints have said that the world is just like a karmasarai, a lodging place, a hotel, an inn, a sarai. Do you see the connection between being a refugee and the world being just a hotel, a sarai? It's not a home that we ever find here. Never. And while it is all right to see that the world is merely a sarai, it is not sufficient. It is all right to admit that the world is fleeting and offers no permanent shelter. Still, this fact is not sufficient. Niti niti is never sufficient. Niti niti is important but never sufficient. It is all right to discount the possibility of true shelter in this world, but merely discounting won't fill your spiritual stomach. You have come to know that the world won't give you refuge, but your urge to belong is still there, is it not? All that you have realized it is that you cannot belong to the places you aspire to belong to. But still you do want to belong. That is the fundamental urge of the ego. To belong so steadfastly, so honestly, so completely, so integrally to a place that it does not have to search any further for home. Spirituality is, in one sense, just a roofless person's urge for home. I want a home. Man needs shelter in both ways. You require a roof over your head, and you require a home in your heart. The latter is more important. Unfortunately, most of your life goes in just building a roof over your head. For that you can pay humongous EMIs, but you do not invest yourself even a little in finding a home in the heart. And if you do not find that, that is a situation even worse than being on the road. There are people who sleep on footpaths, pavements. They are in a bad situation. Worse is the situation of those who sleep in huge houses but are homeless within. Man must have both. Right? And even among these two, which one is more important? Here. A place you can call as your real home. A place that you can enter but never exit. A place from where even death cannot take you away. You may erect a great palace for yourself, but do you see how your dead body is being carried out of your great mansion? Did you succeed? Death snatched you away from your home. And if death appears a thing too far-fetched to you, then you can think of so many other things that will keep you homeless in spite of being in a mansion. Mansions don't help, or help only partially, to be more accurate. Parts don't suffice, do they? A part, by definition, is a broken thing. Do you want to live broken? Wholeness is needed. The whole home, or you could say wholeness is the home. Similarly, when we come to the next phrase that Anna has quoted, the Gurus say, worship God. Now you have had enough of practice. Tell me, who is the person, what is the state of ego being advised to worship God? Visualize this one. What does he do? What does he look like? The Gurus are advising him, worship God. Who is this fellow? He worships a lot of things, but all the wrong things. It is not that the ego does not know submission or surrender. The ego does not have such a strong backbone that it would not ever bend down. The ego is meek and submissive and pathetic. And you can easily beat it down. The only problem is, because it gets beaten down by everybody, so it has surrendered a million times at the wrong places. Hence, nothing is left of it to surrender to the right one. To surrender something, something must be left. What would you surrender if you are left with nothing? The ego sells itself to all the hustlers. You know who a hustler is? Who engages in illicit dealings. Somebody who is, for example, selling bad and adulterated and false material, and also selling it aggressively. And the ego gets fooled. And the ego submits to the marketing and prostrates. Visualize this. The ego is standing, ready to surrender, because it is the fundamental urge of the ego to surrender. The ego knows very well that it is weak and incomplete. The ego does want a great support. The ego does want to surrender to something or somebody higher and bigger than itself. So the ego is standing, ready to surrender. But what does it get? Because it is the ego, so it gets a world of its own making. That's what it sees. So what does the ego see? Being the ego, even if it is ready to surrender, it sees only counterfeit people, only fake people, quacks, all the thugs, all the scaremongers, all the gods of falseness, and they are coming one after the other. And the ego, being ego, does not have the eyes to discriminate. The ego, being ego, first of all, what does it see? It sees one thug after the other, right? It sees one falseness after the other. Why does the ego see so many falsenesses? Because the ego is false. Being false, it sees false. And it sees not merely an instance of false, it sees an entire procession of falseness. So a false fellow comes, then another false fellow comes, then another false fellow comes, and all of them are posturing as powerful ones. And what is the ego anyway ready for? Submission. And all the false ones are coming in a queue, in a procession. And they are all pretending to be absolutely powerful. The society is coming, the social institutions are coming, the knowledgeable ones are coming, the moneyed ones are coming, the armies are coming, the elders are coming, the teachers are coming. And they all are posing to be very, very powerful. And the ego is ready to surrender. And political power comes in front of the ego. And he says, I am very, very. The ego has no option but to prostrate. Next comes some other institution. And that too claims with a lot of confidence to the ego, I am extremely powerful. And what does the ego do? Ego again prostrates. But it somehow gets up. And by the time it gets up, the third one arrives. And who is the third one? Some great author. Reputation is now in front of the ego. And what does reputation tell us? Bow down to me. I have the sanction of masses and history and society. I have the numbers. See how many have approved of me. And what does the ego do? Again prostrates. And when the ego does this 500 times, it does not get up again. Because the ego says, what is the point in getting up? The moment I get up, again I would be faced with another one to whom I have to submit. So what is the point in ever getting up or springing back to a vertical position, I would stay prostrated. The spine would now never be erect. The ego has been beaten down so frequently and so badly that it forever now belongs to the soil, like a vertical tree that has crashed down and would never get up again. Have you ever seen a tree trunk lying flat on the ground? That's the condition of the ego. Now, after 500 such instances, a truthful one may come walking towards the ego. But the ego is lying flat on the ground with the back to the sky and the face to the earth. The eyes are anyway looking down at the ground, plus the eyes are closed, the ego being ego. Face down, smeared with dust, and eyes closed. And now the right one comes and goes past. The ego has missed, because the ego can no more surrender. It can no more surrender because it has already badly surrendered. Nothing is left here to surrender. You can prostrate to the truthful one only if first of all you are standing straight. If you are already rolling in the mud, how will you prostrate? The ego has been crushed so badly that nothing is left of it to surrender or to prostrate. It does not even see when the right one arrives and when the right one goes past this fallen specimen. Surrender is no more possible. So if the ego fails to surrender, do not take it as arrogance. Take it as helplessness. Could it surrender? It would have. It is already sold out. It is already crushed, defeated. It is already comatose. How will it receive the truth? The truth has come after 500 instances of falseness. And all those instances we said were very, very powerful instances. Or at least they appeared powerful. Or at least that's how they advertised themselves. Their name was power. Therefore, what was needed of the ego in order to be available to surrender? What was needed of the ego in order to stay alive to surrender? It's a very important thing. Understand this. 500 false ones come, all posturing as the powerful truth before the truth arrives. Therefore, the question of how to deal with truth is a very secondary question. The truth is anyway not coming to you in a hurry. The truth would come to you in the 501st instance. Before the truth comes to you, 500 instances of falseness are there to be dealt with, to be encountered. Hence, what is required first of all?
That you deal with the false ones rightly, that do not surrender.
Surrendering to the truth is a secondary question. First thing is to be uncontrollable. First thing is to not to be easily tamed or domesticated. First thing is to be a little rowdy and rebellious. First thing is you should be someone who can show the thumb and the fingers, whichever one, to the procession of 500. That is what first of all you need. Otherwise, as you have in classical literature, especially the Indian classical literature, your situation would be that of a woman who is already married. Now the great lover may keep calling, but you are already husbanded. The first thing is to stay unmarried. The first thing is to stay virgin. So that when the right one comes, you are available. I'm talking of spiritual virginity, please. The first thing is to not to be committed. Stay waiting, stay patient. That's what is meant by worshipping God. I made it easy for you by saying that the 501st visitor is God. God is not even the 501st visitor. He never comes really. He is there in the wait. If you can wait perpetually for Him, you have got Him. It's strange, but take it. He will never really come to you. That He has come to you is certified by the strength of your patience. If you can wait infinitely, then it is known that you surely have something that is enabling you to wait infinitely. And who is it that can enable you to wait infinitely? Nobody else but the infinite. Who would power your infinite patience? Nobody else but the infinite. So He will never come Himself. But in a strange way, His touch, His smell would empower you to smile and give a pass to all the pretending customers. Never would you really have Him in the same way as you have had the others. But you can have Him in a very, very special way, in a very intimate way, a way so intimate that the world can never guess of it. And when you have Him in that kind of an intimate way, it becomes very easy to not to surrender to all the spurious ones. When the gurus tell you worship God, they do not mean worship 40 worldly objects and also worship God. Worshipping God means worshipping God only. And that means worshipping nothing and nobody else. Right, Anna? So this statement was made to someone who had a jelly-like spine, who was quite chicken-hearted. So he came to the Guru and the Guru told him, worship God. You must realize the context. Worshipping God means worshipping nobody else. In fact, that is the reason why the most famous verse of the Quran takes pain to specify. It says, La ilaha illallah. It does not just say that Allah is the one. It also takes care to specify and make it doubly clear. No God but Allah. Because it is not enough to just say that Allah is the one. You will say, yes, I worship Allah and I also worship this and that. I worship money, I worship power, I worship knowledge, I worship this and that. Therefore, it has to be made doubly clear to you. Allah and nobody else except Allah. This has to be remembered. Spirituality is not a balancing act where you have God or truth on one side and you have society and your other engagements and commitments and happinesses on the other side. And you say, well, I can have both. Clear? Next, you have said reciting the name of God or the true name. The Gurus have said recite the name of God or recite the true name. Now, again, work with me. Tell me, to what kind of a mind would this have been prescribed? A fellow has come to the Guru and the Guru says, you recite God's name, you recite the true name. Who is this person likely to be? Very good. Good. So this is someone who is indeed reciting but all the wrong names. What is he reciting continuously? What is he reciting? And here, even if you talk of gross or verbal recitation, it would help. Yes, what is he reciting? What is he uttering continuously? Oh, what is happening in the sugar market? I had to buy, a new pair of something for my wife. And he's talking of all these things. He's continuously murmuring something. Nonsense. Blabber. But he's talking of something or the other, something or the other. His urge is to keep talking. And so the Guru is telling him, if you must talk, talk only of God. No other names. No other names. If it is so important for you to recite some name, and everything in the world has a name. So if you are talking of anything, you are de facto pronouncing a name. Is there anything in the world that is nameless? So when you talk, all you do is take names. Talking is a succession of names. Of course, then there are relations between the names and all those things, but it is not to be denied that when you talk, you just take names. Can you even utter one sentence that does not contain a name? Try. Is it possible to utter even one sentence that does not contain a name? And name does not mean the name of a person. This has a name. This has a name. This has a name. Every object has a name. So the Guru is telling him, you are such a talkative fellow. All the time you just go blah blah. All right. Talk only of truth. Knowing fully well that the truth really cannot be talked of, they still say, talk only of the truth. Now, why do they advise so? Because in talking of the truth, you would at least avoid talking of the sugar market and the new trends in Bollywood. The truth cannot really be talked of. It is beyond description and discussion. But even if you just take the name of the truth, and no name given to the truth can be accurate. But even if you take an inaccurate name of the truth, it is a blessing. Why is it a blessing? Because even an approximate name of the truth, even a name that is a pointer to the truth, has helped you greatly by securing you from all the trivial nonsense that you usually engage in. Are you getting it? So the Guru is advising him, talk, but talk only of that. The next one, sing the praise of God. Who is the fellow to whom this is being advised? Who is very given to praising, but he keeps praising all the wrong ones. There are many people who are very adept at praising others, especially the ones who want to network socially. They develop the rotten art of praising everybody and anybody. And they say, even the saints have advised that it is not right to criticize. So we only praise. Are you praising because of your devotion to saints, or are you praising because of your devotion to your greed? Yes, the saints did say that it is not right to keep criticizing. But the saints said that from a point of selflessness. And look at yourself. When you keep praising this fellow and that fellow, you are doing so in order to just appease them, so that later on you can get some benefits out of the relationship. To such fellows, the Guru is saying, praise only the Lord. Praise only the truth. Nobody else deserves your praise. Nobody else deserves your praise. Sing only of Him. Right? Next one, chant God's glory. No prizes for answering this one. So much rehearsal has already happened. Who is the fellow? Who is chanting the glory of everything and everyone but God. He says, the new shop in the new mall. Oh, it's utterly fabulous. Why don't you reserve these exquisite words only for the truly exquisite one? Why do you keep calling everything here and there, all and sundry, as fabulous, exquisite, marvelous, whatnot? Can't you just hold these special words for the special one? There are some people who just fall for anything. Oh, marvelous, 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 marvelous. Please, do not be marveled so cheaply. So the Gurus say, chant God's glory, which in turn means do not chant the glory of this and that. Among the worldly objects, among the worldly people, who is the only one worthy of being covered in glory? The one who takes you to God. For nobody else must you use the words exquisite or super or fabulous or wonderful or whatever, lovely. Nobody is lovely here. Nothing is fabulous here. Nobody is precious here. Nothing is important here. The world is a mirage. It is the world of death. It is a burning house. What are you praising here? The only thing that is praiseworthy here is the one hand that would take you, pull you, guide you, help you out of the burning house. Praise only that. But look at yourself. Such a foolish thing you do. Sitting in the burning house, you are singing the glories of the things in the burning house. You know that refrigerator is imported. Yeah. And that gas cylinder, I tell you, looks so great. That same bloody thing is going to explode next and take you and your praises to the cleaners. Man sitting in a burning house and singing the glory of the gas cylinder. Such is our condition. Is there anything in the burning house that is praiseworthy, I ask you? No, nothing at all. If there is one thing that is praiseworthy there, it is the hand that will pull you out of that burning house. Except for that hand, praise nothing else. Even if it appears very attractive, even seductive, ignore it.